Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your continued support. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest discussion that is going on in the country, apart from the doctor strike and the fake fertilizer and all the incompetent cabinet secretaries, is how did we get to where we are today? Where did the rain start beating us? That is the discussion. And coupled with it is the NADCO report that had recommended that we open the server so that we can do a postmortem of the 2022 election. Some clergy are saying that there is no need of conducting an electoral reform or looking at what happened in 2022 because that will open wounds. And they're saying that Raila should move on and let William Ruto fix the economy. But there is another school of thought that feels that we should be left to understand exactly, to know what happened. And when I looked at this, I remember some of the UDA officials, both who are in power today and some of them who are not in power, had rubbished off the idea of looking for electoral justice, and they were saying that Raila wants to sabotage William Samoei Ruto. But now I realized that when the shoe is on the other side of the foot, things are different. I watched Cleopas Malala talking about the last elections as a gubernatorial candidate in Kakamega, and he says that there are new revelations that Fernandez Baraza might have used some unscrupulous means to get to power and that he paid some money. And so Malala was saying that investigations should be done, and if it is found to be true, then his victory must be given to him. He wants back his victory. But the most painful one was Kimani, the former Bahati MP in Nakuru, who revealed just how painful it is to lose an election fairly while on Spice FM. And very many people have looked at the side of a rotten UDA and how he said he would never wear that UDA t-shirt. I want us to look and listen to them again, because I want us to bring the picture where when you are not the victim, you can rubbish it off. But then when they realize it is they are the victims themselves, they are now crying for and they're saying they want their victory. It is what we call, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Kwa Kiswahili tunasema mkuki kwa nguruwe kwa binadamu ni chungu. Let us watch Malala and Ngunjiri so that we understand, because I want to build for you a picture that when Raila is looking for electoral justice, some people rubbish him off. But when the very, very people realize that there is a loophole that can give them back their victory, they start making the very, very noise that they claim Raila was making. Kindly take a look.
Kwa hiyo mambo ambayo si ya kimungu ndio apite kura, na ni ukweli alitoa pesa taslimu milioni 250 ndio aweze pita kura. So mimi nasema kama ni ukweli, basi ushindi wangu na mimi kushindwa, ushindi wake na mimi kushindwa katika kura haikuwa ya haki. Na that is a matter now that we are now supposed to look into. Sababu tunafaa tuwe na maadili mema kama viongozi. So mimi ninaongea kama mgombea kiti wa kiti cha ugavana Kakamega County. Ni lazima tuambiwe kama ni ukweli na tupatiane nafasi kwa wale ambao wako na hizo video, kwa wale ambao wako na hizo picha, watupatie nafasi na wasidhulumu mtu yoyote, wasi-intimidate mtu yoyote. Apeane hizo gadgets ndio waharibu ushahidi. Tungependa polisi, we have a lot of confidence with our police force. Wafanye kazi yao kwa haki. Mtu yoyote asiwashurutishe kitu yote. Kesi hii iishe kama tunajua nini nafanyika. Na mwisho tungependa kuitisha gavana huyo akuja andike statement.
But the league does. I'm here to talk the truth. You know, if you wanted to know exactly the truth, I was a candidate. And I want to say in this media and everybody in Kenya to hear me, I'm not in UDA myself. I'll never wear yellow anymore.
What happened?
Because I have been with Moi. I've been with Kibaki. I know the structure of election. I know how the people should put people together. I know how we should get to a light on nomination. It did not work. Let me tell you, in Nakuru, they did something with the governor there. 7 family of his family, the sister, the grandchild, the nini, they gave nomination. My people like in Bahati, they got nothing who supported the UDA. So for the UDA, let's not talk about it here for me, because I'm not part and parcel for the UDA. I will support the president. I will go on either independent or any other party, but not in UDA. Hiyo ni matope, hiyo ni shida ambayo iko mbele yetu. It's a big problem. Because,
so in which party
let me ask you, my brother, you know how I worked for UDA. You want to see when we are getting the director of something, we go and get Western when he was in the other party there. We are not there ourselves. Who did this work for UDA? Why are we not there? Are we not capable? So before we remove ourselves, we are already removed. Before we remove ourselves, already we are removed. We are nowhere. Someone like me, they are appointing people, they are giving people position. Where am I? I was almost dying fighting for the UDA. But I will tell my brother one thing when I leave about the people. Please, you are young and I know you are looking us for the position. Leadership is not a joke. When you get to it, it's like young people. When they get married, how they do, I'll buy my girlfriend, I'll buy my wife a car, I'll build a house, I'll do all these kind of things. I can see mom looking for me very seriously.
Now, if you listened to both the UDA Secretary Cleopas Malala and Kimani Gunjiri, one of the very staunch supporters of William Ruto, then you will realize that it is painful when you are the one who is now looking for the same electoral justice. Malala is getting a loophole and is saying that more than almost 2 years down the line after elections, he's saying that if it is found out that Fernandez Baraza rigged elections, then he wants his victory back. Kimani Gunjiri his statement was more powerful and painful at the same time. He says they were rigged. UDA officials rigged them. And she's saying that Susan Kihika, who is the governor, was part and parcel of the rot. And even after the rigging, he felt that maybe William Ruto would remember them together with his allies so that they are given something in the government, but he feels William Ruto is too late. And I'm submitting to you that when Raila says that he wants to fight for electoral justice, that is what he means, and that is how it feels. Because Kimani Gunjiri himself is one person who has always told Raila to let it go, to ensure that William Ruto is allowed to implement his policies. At some point, he even told Rigathi Gachagua that William Ruto was voted in because he had endeared himself to the Kikuyu community. No one campaigned for him, and therefore Rigathi should not think that William Ruto went through him. But he's been very, unpredictable. Recently, again, he said that Gachagua should be respected because in the recent appointments, he saw some names from Luo land, and he was saying that the people who fought for William Ruto have been abandoned, and now William Ruto is appointing others into office. He belongs to the same train with Rigathi, that shareholders should be remembered first and should be given first priority. While William Ruto is busy trying to unite under the guise of unition, of course, or unity, but is fighting for 2027. He wants to make people feel that he's uniting the country in terms of his appointments, but it is far from the truth. I know many would argue that Kimani Gunjiri is trying to fight for his political life because he's been in the cold. By the way, it is not very easy to be in the cold. A politician who is used to getting salary and privileges, security, and all these privileges that come with it, a secretariat and a driver and everything, CDF, it is very difficult to be in the cold. Those people who ran for elections in different seats, MCA, women rep, and all that, if there is anyone who feels that he or she was rigged out of office or out of a position of victory, they really feel it. And this has happened even in the ODM, Wiper, Unity, Jubilee, and all that. Sometimes they claim that there is no absolute democracy. If you ask Alfred Keter, he will tell you that he won elections, the UDA nominations, but he was not given a chance because he had been a thorn in the flesh to William Ruto. Was opposing him, and therefore he was not given a chance. They say they're looking at someone who's loyal. Loyalty is very key in politics. But I think that democratically should give a chance to people who have been elected by people. But now, for Kimani Ngunjiri, he's doing this because UDA elections are about to take place. And he's just warning you who is going to the grassroots elections, who is going to vie for a position. He's telling them, be very careful. It's not going to be easy the way you think. Those people who the system, the UDA system, that is William Ruto, want to be in office will be there. And after that, you will realize that some people will be disappointed. They will run away. Even later, they will come back. But he's warning them. And he's also doing this because he's realized that the parliament recently gave William Ruto the green light to appoint the chief administrative secretaries, the CSS that were declared unconstitutional by the courts. And this time round, the Senate has given William Ruto infinite number. You know, at first it was capped at, was it 22 or something? And the courts found out that it was illegal even to surpass the number that has been allowed. Now they've even removed the clause that is capping it at 22, and they are telling William Ruto, you can appoint as many CSS as you want. And Ngunjiri knows very well that in the next appointment, he's reminding William Ruto that he's in the cold and he wants to be part and parcel of the government. By the way, he's really fought hard to defend William Ruto. From the time of Uhuru Kenyatta, their last term, up to now, he's been very consistent in trying to defend William Ruto. But you know, in politics, there are interests. And I know he's got a lot of interest. Maybe William Ruto will remember him. But one thing that Kimani Ngunjiri does not understand is that the reason why William Ruto did not consider him, why he even lost and William Ruto could be looking at him losing, is the same fate that people like William Kabogo and Wainaina Njenga suffered. William Ruto did not want self-made leaders. He wants people who will look up to him, people who will dance to his tune. You know, there are politicians in Central, in Mount Kenya, those who had been there for some times, and he knew very well that these are the people who would be stumbling blocks on his way to becoming Mount Kenya kingpin, something that he had yearned for as he wrestled power from Uhuru Kenyatta, and he fell Uhuru Kenyatta in his home ground, in his backyard. So people like Kimani Ngunjiri, very lethal, you know, a man who always speaks his mind, very controversial. And Ruto looked at him and he knew very well, if I empower Kimani Ngunjiri na hapa mbele kuharibike, then they can turn against me. And you know, Kimani Ngunjiri is being listened to by very many people. And so Kimani Ngunjiri should understand that William Ruto does not like these people who are sometimes very close to Uhuru Kenyatta, and they switched at the last moment. They can turn against him. I know William Ruto will consider him in the next appointment. But one lesson that we should learn, when Raila went to the street, he was fighting for the very, very thing that they're fighting for. When they told William Ruto that we are on the street to ensure that we want electoral justice and we want you to do away with the Finance Bill 2023, people like Gachagua said you want to sabotage the government. Later, after Raila stopped and the Azimio stopped the demonstrations, businesses are collapsing. The same businesses they claimed Raila wanted to collapse, they are collapsing, and there are no demonstrations. The avocado farmers are now saying there are levies in that Finance Bill 2023 that we don't like and we want you to remove them. Rigathi Gachagua is now forming some task forces, something that will not help, instead of taking it back to the parliament so that they can debate and reverse it. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just submitting to you that the pain of losing an election, whether at the MCA level or at the presidential level, is the same. And when Raila talks of electoral justice, people who are throwing stones at him are the very, very people who are now crying foul. Regrets are the children. I still remember the very, very little Kiswahili that I was taught. Ya kwamba majuto ni majukumu yaja baadaye. What message do you have for Gunjiri and Cleo Malala? I have one. It is their bed. They made it. They must lie on it. And that is my take.